Well, this is bringing up returning one more time to the Goldsmiths incident, the day that you were in the airplane having champagne.
Yeah.
Were sheriff's deputies or sheriff's people involved in that, and is
Right.
their riot equipment different? For instance, I believe it was Jared Blanchard or someone who was on the scene there did mention to us that he had a feeling of misgiving. I believe it was Jared Blanchard when he saw the great big longer than the billy clubs that the policemen use.
Yeah, riot sticks.
Riot sticks, is that
Right.
what they are?
Right, that's what they call them.
Were those police riot sticks, or would that be sheriff's equipment?
No, they both. I'm pretty sure both departments
Both
had
of
them, but they were originally intended for the march type thing, and rather than rifles and bayonets, you had the longer stick.
So it would have been normal for these to be out.
Yeah, they would have been
on
normally
the
issued. I
scene.
would have thought. Yeah, they would have been normal.
Chief, I'm still confused about were the sheriff's people operating with the police on the 28th?
Yes, they were very much. We had 50 of them.
Under whose control are they?
Well, they were.
If they're in the city, are they under city control?
No, they're under the control of the sheriff, but they were melded in with our people, and they control some of our people, and we control some of theirs. In other words, they were in a tactical unit, and if they was mixed, the highest-ranking officer was the one that controlled
Well, now,
the
would the
unit.
county sheriff's people, would they be aware of things like your tax plan or anything like that? Are they aware of
Yeah,
that?
they learned that from us, and of course, we organized them. The sheriff gave us 50 people. This is all he had. They couldn't, so they only have about 135 involved in law enforcement. And the sheriff.
Did he give them to you through that whole period then? Did you have?
Yeah, we had them a lot of the time.
And they were.
I wish we hadn't had them.
Were they involved in the Goldsmiths thing? This was what were there? Do you know whether there were
Yes,
sheriffs?
I'm not positive because I wasn't there, but the sheriff had he had mobilized 50 men and loaned them to the city.
Oh, that early, way back. in
Oh
February.
yeah, oh yeah,
I see,
yeah. They were on call all the time. The sheriff was over at the police station. Bill Marsh was the sheriff, and he was over at the police station the night of the city hall incident. You know, when we
yes.
marched out of the city hall, he was around.
He was the reception
he?
committee over at
Yeah,
Was he
at the
in
police
on-
station.
Was he in on all your planning then?
No.
Now, is it correct that he is theoretically, he's the top law officer in the county?
Yeah, it's a constitutional officer, but he really doesn't have any authority over the city police at all.
I mean, theoretically
found
he does,
that.
but actually he doesn't.
Well, not even theoretically. He doesn't have authority over it. He can police any place in the county with his own people, but he cannot command
Yeah, I see.
or
I see.
direct the police to do anything.
Did you have more trouble with the county people than with your own police?
Oh, yes, they're so much inferior trained that it's not even the same ballpark. Some of them, and of course, that's political in its entirety. So, you know, if you run for sheriff, you got to get votes, and so the people that support you have to hire their people as deputies. And I'm not casting aspersions at any sheriff that does this because this is his survival. He has to do it. And this is the reason why it was so. This is the reason why I fought that charter so bad. They wanted to put the sheriff in charge of all the police, for God's sakes. Oh, what a tragedy that would have been.
That would have been a totally political police.
In its
department.
entirety.
Right.
In its entirety. The sheriff has to. He doesn't have any choice. Now, this sheriff plays a lot of lip service to this, you know, and he took the group over to county jail and fed them ducks, you know, and this sort of thing. But he was just strictly playing games. That's all. Political games. He has to if he wants to survive.
Has to be
you
sure.
know.
When the 28th, after the march had broken up and all that violence moved sporadically around the south end of the city and then to the north end of the city, that night Holloman made a statement that, or that afternoon at the city council perhaps, he made a statement that this was, I believe he said this was guerrilla war. We were engaged in guerrilla war, I think was his statement.
He could have, and this...
Would that be an over-exaggeration? After it was over, how did you estimate how bad that rioting really was?
Well, it was much worse than a lot of people wanted to admit, and it is, primarily, this is what it amounts to, on the scale that it is. Now, if you want to...
I mean, that's a difficult question. You know,
It
it
is guerrilla warfare. This is what it is. This is how it occurs. But that doesn't mean that the entire black community is in guerrilla warfare.
organized.
Yeah,
See,
right.
that's what really really messes this thing up.
That's what you had to-
Because you say guerrilla war, you know, So they say, well, the
That
whole
means-
black community.
yeah.
Well, this is not true.
Them against us.
Heaven forbid all 250 or 75,000 of them being involved. I'd have took my department and run. You know, what else could you do?
Yeah.
I don't care what you got in the amount of firepower.
Yeah.
But this is, it's just like Frank Holman was quoted in the paper, said he never met a brutal policeman. They hung it around his neck and drowned him with him. But what Frank Holman was saying, that he had never been associated with a police officer whose mission in life it was to go out and inflict physical pain on somebody. Say, well, you know, but it didn't come out that way, boy. They really lassoed him around the neck and sunk him with that.
Well, were you surprised that, whatever you want to call it, the uprising or the troubles or whatever, wasn't worse than it was?
No, I don't think so, because of my association with the blacks are very much like the whites. You don't have any more nuts in the black community than you do in the white community. And I didn't anticipate, well, what would have happened if all 260, 70,000, somewhere in this area, had decided to turn to guerrilla warfare in Memphis.